Hello, everybody. This is our sixth poetry evening, and we have some really nice poems for you gathered for this time. And the first poem is our lovely Tisha. So, would you do the honor and read it?
Sure.
As sunset meets the sea, waves bask and bathe in glory of golden auroras and impassioned red, a sea of stars awakened from seabed. The moon but a singular sacred pearl, as the tapestries of stars unfurl. Moonlight embroiders the streets, with silver streams weaving silky sheets. Where these iridescent roads meet, there's a strange yet familiar beat. Silence sings with velvet voice, a rhyme of rejuvenation and rejoice. Quiet drapes his quilt o'er the realm, with Hypnos anchored at the helm. Adrift in the land of dreams, but beware, all isn't as it seems. As dusk departs to highlands yawn, angelic symphony beckons dawn. The trees awaken to chirping choir, and the sky are lit with celestial fire.
Wow.
So this poem is basically about, the transformation of the sky from dusk to dawn, and how we dream. And
So cool. I really like where the iridescent roads meet. There's a strange yet familiar beat. Silence sings with velvet voice. This is so beautiful. I think last time we had this really nice theme about silence. And yeah, I really like this thing that we talk about. Like silence was a theme that goes through many poems. But here also, silence sings with velvet voice. You're right, because silence is not only silent when you really listen.
Yeah. There's a quiet in the night. So the concept that I wanted here was that you have the sunset. Like I went to Dubai recently, and there, you see the sun, and when it sets, there's this red, beautiful golden light that falls on the sea, and it's almost like the sky is imparting its consciousness to the sea. And so therefore I wanted to say that you get golden auroras, even though auroras are associated with the sky. I wanted to say that the sea has golden auroras. And then from the sea, from that bond between the sunset and the sea, the stars are born. And
This is so nice. And also, like you playing it in the angelic symphony, Big and Storm, it's like very much like the theme of Geoffrey Hudson that
Yeah.
brings, like we were talking, and the trees awaken the chirping core.
It's quite inspired by Theosophy as well, because there's so many beautiful birds here, and my dad and I, we recognize all the birds, and we found like 30 different birds here. So I was like, I have to inculcate that, the beautiful chirping choir, and the trees, they must be enjoying, and waking up each day to these birds singing.
Yeah, I think also that the trees are enjoying just being here, growing here, just like the animals are happy to be here. But the sky lit with celestial fire, and I'm like thinking we're going to have this Lotus Fire study group, and we're going to touch this theme of celestial fire soon. So I'm like very much like how this is going, and I very much like how also you have this rhyme or like you have like this aspect of very nice. It's not just the words, it's not just the pictures, but it's actually the composition is very nice. Miriam?
I have a question. I absolutely love your poem, how you put together the sunset, the birds, the nature, and how all of this comes so spiritually. I have a question when you say, adrift in the land of dreams, beware all isn't it as it seems. What do you mean?
Well, what I meant was, so I'm describing the night, right? And then there's quiet, and he drapes his quilt. And Hypnos is supposed to be the Greek god of dreams. So Hypnos takes you to the land of dreams, which is like the astral world, if you think about it. Again, a lot of Theosophy inspired here. So, and in Theosophy, you know, they say that there are really beautiful flowers that you see in the astral plane, but then they aren't all that. And you
Yes.
shouldn't get lost there, and you shouldn't just believe it, you know? So that's where
Because of
that
the
came
silence.
from. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, this is so cool.
Because it's beautiful creations in the astral plane, but you can just get lost in that and you should not believe that. So that's why I wrote that.
This is so nice. Hypnos anchored, and I just also remind me we have this really nice series, Sandman in
Yeah.
Netflix, and they also touches. Yes.
Good show.
And a drift of land of dreams. Yes, we could say that this astral world is a land of dreams in that sense that when we have finished like in a physical bodies, then how the bodies are going to the next levels, like at the I think there's some descriptions about it in different books, how you have to go the lower astral bodies, and then you get Devachan, that is like land of dreams. In that sense, also, like you have dreams and your higher aspiration this life, and there you can live this. And they say that artists can live like 10,000 years there and create and make beautiful artworks because they have this inspiration and continues when they feel finally that they want to come back. This is really, really nice. Do we have another thoughts that somebody wants to share? Okay, then we can go on. Let's see. I think this is Gabriela. Miriam, dear, would you be so nice and read it out?
Sure thing. The shape of a question. At the edge of the day, when the sky sets in last simmer of light, I pause, still as a thought, too fragile to speak. The mountain regards me, full, unflinching, keeper of the eternal. I am just a sort of time, pretending my gaze can reach its vastness. Yet it is here, in the wind's rough scratch, in the slow dimming of the light, that vertigo finds me. No answers live in the silence I listen to, yet every question already holds the seed of meaning. I am a man, all I know is doubt, and a steady trembling between the everlasting and the vanishing. This body, bound to become ash, longs for the light, but maybe the fall is the only truth. I stand unmoving, while the sky strips me of every certainty, and in this hollow, in this absence, perhaps I begin to find myself.
Wow. Another really beautiful masterpiece. At the edge of the day when the sky shines. Again, I feel at the edge of the day, it starts in the evening. The many poems starts in the evening. The mountain regards me full, and I am just the shade of time, pretending my gaze can reach me back. And again, no answer lived in the silence I listened to, yet every question already holds the seed of meaning. I very much like this line that already every question holds the seed of the meaning, the seed of the answer. And we are also touching the silence before that. The silence I listened, because in the evening you listen to silence. I am a man, and all I know is doubt, and unsteady trembling between the everlasting and the vanishing. Yeah, so much is like changing in our lives. And this body is bound to become ash. Oh, nice. And longs for the light, but maybe the fall is the only truth. What do you think what the fall is?
I guess maybe I don't know. He can say better, of course. But death of the.
I was thinking two things. It could be like fall, like a spring, and fall, like autumn.
Mhm.
Maybe the autumn is the only truth. You have less light in the autumn, and then you go more into inside because outside the nature is keep a little bit more dying before the winter is coming, or a fall in that sense that it's falling down somewhere, or falling from the height of some.
Security of sorts.
Oh yes,
Could be like
insecurity.
K, he says that you should face uncertainty.
Yes.
And that's where truth is. So maybe there's so much of security, and when you fall, there's no security at all.
You cannot. Yes, you cannot be secure while you're falling. You can. Yeah.
So you fall into the void and uncertainty.
To feel comfortable in a falling while you do not have any point that you can hold.
Here in the first sentence, you can say, this body bound to become ash longs for the light, but maybe the fall is the only truth. It's about the physical body, I think.
But it's bound to become it. They're not saying it's become ash and then it longs.
Maybe
it ends up there.
And it ends up there, bound to become ash. No, this body is not forever. This is not eternal.
Yes.
So this body is bound to become ash, longs for the light. But maybe the fall is the only truth. Because once you will fall, then only you can rise.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's also yes. Also, I'm thinking bound to become ash. You're bound to become ash the moment you are born. It could be
Yes.
like you are a long journey, the 20, 100 years there, or it could be that it is happening right now, becoming ash.
Everything is like that. The waves also, when they rise, they if they fall, then only they will rise. When the sun sets, then only next day it is
There's
going to
cycles.
rise. Yes, there are cycles. As you said, that the autumn, when the leaves fall, then only they will grow again. What is it? When your body will become bound to become ash, so it longs for light, and then when it is bound to fall, so when the body becomes ash, and then again it will the soul takes one more body, and then it.
Yeah. But also they say, Blavatsky, I think, has somewhere said that when that the dead are more alive than a live person because they are live all the time, even when we are sleeping. Or so maybe he longs for the light, that he's more living in a spirit when he's dead. In that sense,
It's a spiritual meaning. So when you fall, then only you, and as you rise, again you fall, again you rise, and this is the lesson, this is the experience, and accordingly you will grow.
so
Guys, if I may jump in briefly.
Please do.
I think the whole premise of this poem is about the struggle between the temporary and the everlasting. So the fall is just a symbol of the struggle, when the struggle gets even stronger. But then I think we shouldn't be reading that line, in disconnection with what comes after, because after the fall, he then goes on to say that I stand unmoving while the sky, strips me of every certainty. So that comes after the fall. Once you've been disillusioned. So falling is a sign of being disillusioned from everything that was keeping you sort of withheld, or was kind of, a stumbling block between you and your goal, in this case, which is the everlasting light. So yeah, so I think the next para, or the next verse that comes after this one kind of answers as well to quite an extent.
Yeah.
It is in connection with the fall, because you then stand unmoving while the skies, strips me of every certainty. And in this hollow, in this absence, perhaps I begin to find myself. So it's sort of a reset, when you get disillusioned, because it happens with everyone. Like, we get little glimpses of, insights while we are on the path, and we think we now have some grasp of the truth, but only to realize that, our struggles are even bigger than what we initially thought they would be. So we sort of get disillusioned. So I think this struggle is all about that. The fall is kind of, a symbolic way of saying that you get disillusioned. The sky strips you of every uncertainty. Yeah, so that's just my take anyway.
No, this is very good. Thank you. I very much like this this idea that it is disillusioning, because this is where we are heading in that sense, and it's very nicely put. Yeah.
No, yes, I agree. Maybe when you find the hollow, the void, after that, after you can go through that, it's when you actually can get a grasp of something that is real, that is not an illusion.
Yeah, a spiritual life is, less about learning, more about unlearning, isn't it? So, yeah, and sometimes the fall is what happens when, we are forced to unlearn a lot of things all of a sudden. So, yeah.
And I like this. I agree with you, Kiran. And I like this, that in this absence, perhaps I begin to find myself. I lose myself, and then I really become. But what do I lose? I lose this life, what is like physical life, what is, I lose the name and I don't know, the money and the things.
False security.
Yeah, false security. So if they fall off, then
Lower self, you can lose the lower self to find the higher self.
the cats are behind the door window, and the window is a little bit open, and they hear our voice and they're meowing. I don't know if you can hear them.
No.
They're making a lot of noise. I'm like a little bit embarrassed. I don't know. Like, it's good if you don't noise. I don't have to cut it out. Do we have any more comments about this poem? If no, then let's go to the next one. Oh, yes. My dear Miriam.
Okay. So actually, this is I don't know if an answer. Well, I read Gabriele's poem 2 days ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to answer with a poem, but maybe it's not an answer, it's just a comment on that poem. Okay, so the title is I Am, and it goes like this. Find me at the edge of every razor, hidden beneath the midnight's wrath. When the all has sung its last song, find me, please, divine love. Who am I? Who am I? I search for you along the worn roads of humankind, yet you slip away as wind-driven sand. I seek you in an old verse of time, yet the memory of this one slips through my grasp. Who am I? Who am I? My fear, my past, is dying in the starry night, running tears, merging in its soaring light. A crackling fire, a hatched egg, a falling heart. Who am I? Who am I? A fiery sword is in my hand. Kill it or be consumed by it. What would I be without all I thought I was? Kill it or be consumed by it. O divine love, where do you hide within the night? Who am I? Who am I? There she is, dressed in black. It is okay, I say. In the light of this flame, please show me what you must. Misery, joy, pain, compassion, shame, broken hearts, shattered dreams in half. moments of roses' fragrance under a radiant sun. Who am I? Who am I? It is okay, I say. Give me your hand. I do not want to die, you proclaim. You not. You shall be reborn. And you do not resist. You come with me, searching for the height of the unfathomable star. I can surrender now, divine love. I surrender to what I am. Starry night, the flickering of a human life, trails of shooting stars, I am.
Wow. I like you get to the stars, you get to the night. There's a theme of things are going to happen in the night, but this night is also like a symbol that it's daytime is already lived, and it could be like it's time. The soul is like more intuitive or more. Oh, so lovely that Gabriel was able to join us.
Hi.
Hi, Gabriel. We are just now discussing Miriam's poem. I'm thinking she just read it out, and we are just discussing it. And after that, we can go briefly back to your poem and hear what you actually thought about it. Wow, this is really nice. Like the question, the who am I? This is the question that the ultimate question. If you find an answer to that, and like I can see Miriam did find an answer to that in the end.
Well, that's the question Ramana Maharshi always asked, right? That's what he taught.
And also, I think Delphi Oracle says, know yourself. Who am I? No. What would you say about this poem? So it was an answer to Gabriel's poem.
Oh, because the title of Gabriela's poem is The Shape of a Question. So to me, this is the question, who am I?
This is the shape.
I don't know if that question is what he meant, but it provoked me, that thought.
Oh, so
Yeah,
nice.
I think it's more of a continuation because, Gabriel, towards the end of his poem, he is talking about the fall and then slowly, finding his own identity. And then that's when Miriam's poem comes into the picture where she's talking about, yes, I am. So it's kind of a continuation rather than a direct question answer, but it's more like a steady flowing stream between the two poems.
Yeah, that's true. I search for you along the worn roads of humankind. This is so nice. What do you mean by that?
That you can try to find what you are longing for, what you are really longing for in a spiritual sense, but I don't think you can ever truly find that in someone else's teachings or thoughts or books or writings. That can point a way or a direction, something to search, but your way is only yours.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what you need to discover from my point of view.
Before, in the beginning, we look at those fingers that point to the moon before we start looking towards the moon ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what
Very nice.
And I use the Starry Night metaphor because here in Spain at this time of the year we have some starry nights. They call it San Lorenzo tears. So that's why.
Oh, yes, in August, yes. So a lot of falling stars, so to say, are the meteorites. So you can wish if
Yeah.
you catch something.
Yeah.
Oh,
As someone sitting in Ireland at the moment, I'm not at all jealous about your starry nights.
yeah. Oh.
I don't even remember the last time when I saw a starry night. So.
Oh yes, you're in Wales.
No, Dublin, Ireland.
Yes, I believe you have a lot of rain and a lot of clouds there. Yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was joking by saying that I'm not at all jealous to hear about the starry nights. But that was more sarcastic than, yeah, a literal statement.
But you're not like married to this place. We all hope you are coming to see us soon.
We'll see how that goes.
Yes, yes. I very much like this poem, and I like the flow of it. I like how you bring out this question, and then you go on, and then you come back to this question. Like it's like life. You have some thoughts, you have some directions, and then you come back to this question, and then it goes a little bit further, and then you come back to this question, and then you go with another angle. There she is, dressed in black. It is okay, I say, in the light of this flame. So if the flame is dressed in black, very poetic.
Love how you describe the conflict. You know, you've made it a dialogue between yourself, and she's brought out that conflict so beautifully.
Yeah.
All the questions you have in your mind.
I mean that she is dressed in black. It just means that it's unconscious. That it's not. That maybe like it is not seen because I don't dare to see what is there. So when you put a light into it, when you look it with light, you actually see it. So that's something please can't scare you anymore, or make you upset, angry, all the things that it says after that: misery, joy, pain, compassion. You just see it, so you are okay with it.
But it's really nice to think that the flame is dressed in black. I think we are also like kind of flames that are dressed in this like carnal bodies, or like, and it's like less light in that sense. It's black.
Yeah,
Maybe.
okay.
Okay. I'm thinking maybe we go for a moment back to the previous one, so we can
Yeah, I
ask.
was just going to make a quick comment. I was going to say that out there in the universe, there's more darkness than there is light. So she is dressed in black, and there is a light that she imbibes. So.
Yes. Also, light is a relative thing. I'm thinking if it's like a one part of the electromagnetic spectrum, then
Just visible light.
we are talking about visible light, but maybe I'm thinking like ultimately maybe the universe is made of light, but we just don't perceive it because we have right now this kind of eyes that can only see like darkness and light.
Black isn't a color, actually. It's just ultraviolet light. There's no actual.
Yeah, it's something unknown, like it goes on.
Yeah. But again, I think it kind of depends on what perspective you look at it from, because darkness usually gets a bad name. But then there are many good sides of it as well. Like, if you talk about darkness the way we see it as humans, it's also quite unifying in a way. You know, it's when the lights go off, you don't see the colors. You just see everything as one, just one space, which is just dark, pitch black stuff. So it's only when there is light you start seeing differences. So it really depends on what model you put this into and how you shape your perspective. But of course, there are different ways of looking at it.
That's a very nicely said. Like, I think there's this saying that in dark all cats are gray, or something like that. But also, I think if you could see, like in our universal prayer, it's this line that about light, that light that
Oh,
shines.
hidden light shining in every creature.
Yeah. So there's a hidden light in every creature and everything, and I'm like, I could see this. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's one reason why a lot of deities in India are either black or a pitch dark blue in color. That's the reason, because they are a reference to the darkness, the cosmic darkness, from where everything comes into being. Like Shiva, for instance.
Yes, that's true. But it's like it's not like darkness in that sense. It's just out of our reach.
Unknown.
Yeah, unknown in that sense. Yeah, that's really good.
It's not the darkness in terms of suffering.
Yeah.
It's where the universe kind of begins. It's just pure consciousness, which doesn't have any identity. And then from that as what roots the whole creation. So that's the eternal pure silence. That's the soundless silence.
Wow. This is so nicely put. Thank you. Okay, let's go for a moment back. Gabriel. I don't know how to do it. Do you want to read this one more time on your own? Or do you want to tell what you
No,
think? We already read it. But we wanted to know what you thought about with this. What was your idea? We already thought tell what we thought this means, and you can see later what we thought. But now we want to hear what you thought with this poem.
I think that everyone can make an idea by himself, I think, because we don't have an idea of what I wanted to write or to say. In that moment, I had an impression. I wrote these words, but this poem doesn't present a specific meaning. Everyone can
Interpret
make
it.
can produce an idea and an impression.
You're so kind. You're too kind.
I think I express this idea at the end of the poem when I wrote in this halo, in this absence, perhaps I begin to find myself, and so I think to search ourselves, we have to make a negative work, okay, to produce this absence, this empty situation in our heart.
This is very nicely put, that we need this kind of uncertainty, and we need to learn to, how can I say, feel comfortable in this uncertainty where we lose everything around. Then it is possible to start to find yourself. Yeah.
By negative work, you mean, Gabriele, negation?
Yes, I think this is the most important work in a spiritual sense. I think the negation
Like
can
unlearning, like unlearning things that you know.
yes, unlearning or in general to find other time our original freedom, because I think that the spiritual life is a freedom life, okay? And so I think to reach this, yes, this integration of the I to integrate the I, yes, like Kiran wrote now. Um, I think this negative word, this work to uh, to destroy, okay, our habitude, our ordinary way of seeing the life is the main work in a spiritual path.
Wow, this is really nice. Thank you. Thank you for writing and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Too.
So we go on. Oh, we have a question, I think, here. Okay. Thank you, Kiran. So let's go on. Next is Arthur's. Let me think. Kiran, do you mind reading out Arthur's poem?
Okay, I can do that. It's a small one.
The next one also.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've been tasked with stuff now. All right. The mind. I have a mind which has many thoughts. Some thoughts help me. I like to think writing too.
Arthur have such a deep poems about simple things.
I like it because the other time he also write, I think it was also 5, 7 lines, very clear, very concise, but saying a lot of things that, for example, myself, I just go around and round and round, but he goes to the point. I like it.
He goes very much into I have a mind. Mind has many thoughts, and some of them, not all, but like some of them, many are helpful. And I like to think writing too. How will I understand that I like to think
Writing
writing?
helps him too. Writing helps him.
Ah, yes. If you write down, it helps to organize the thoughts. If you read them out, if you write them to, it's like explaining something to other, and then you organize it.
It's like mapping out your mind on a paper.
Ah, that's true. Yes.
So he actually isn't separating writing from the act of thinking. He is presenting writing itself as an act of thinking.
Very nicely done. Think writing. It's a nice, like
hidden meaning.
Verb. Yeah, like hidden meaning. Think writing. Yes, because actually we always think right. We always think when we write. I mean, sometimes we think very little when we write, but there's always something. Otherwise, it does not make sense. It's yeah.
Have you tried brainwriting?
How do you
or
do it?
brain dumping? Like it's an exercise where you don't pause. You just keep writing whatever that comes to your mind, whatever that is. Even if you get distracted and if you're not focused in one particular topic, you just go on writing ceaselessly for 10 minutes or whatever time you decide to. And that is that is actually a good exercise in unloading your mind if you've got lots of thoughts, cluttering your vision and stuff. So it kind of gives you that space when you have kind of unloaded it. So that think writing, there you go. There's already a linkage there, and sometimes you do get good ideas out of that exercise. So yeah, it's not always a precursor. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, thinking need not be a precursor to writing. It's not that we think first and then we write. Sometimes it's kind of happening simultaneously.
Yes, especially when you have to do something, oh, it have to be perfect, and this is not, and like you have this like a blockage or like this is not it, this is not it. But just write, don't think like is it perfect or not? Just everything that comes, like put, and if you keep going, it will like take some. I don't know, but I want to try it.
My mother's a psychiatrist, so she prescribes that. She
Okay.
says, yeah, if she says we just keep writing about what you feel and what you've gone through, then there's things that would have come out which you would not have otherwise thought about.
Wow.
So you should look back
Mm.
once you've written that and contemplate on what you've written.
This is so cool.
Yeah, and it's also very good if you do it regularly. Then it gets to a point where you start understanding how your mind actually works. Because if you've been constantly ruminating over a particular event, you will then start seeing your own patterns as to how your mind, goes into these same loops. It starts with one thing and then it goes, to maybe more brooding about it. And then you probably link it with something else in the past. And that's how you kind of catastrophize the whole thing. In your head. So you then start seeing a pattern of how the mind actually is playing with you, and it really gets to a point where you can disconnect from that. And a lot of times they would suggest you to either dispose the paper off or burn it, or if you have a lot of unexpressed emotions that you want to say to someone but you were not able to, so a lot of times they would ask you to write it down on a piece of paper and just get rid of the paper, maybe bury it in the ground or burn it or just dispose it, whatever that's more symbolic to you, whatever that works the best for you.
Yes.
I've done that. It's quite helpful. It's quite therapeutic.
I think I also have done it at least once, but I'm like thinking now I want to do it again. So thanks, Arthur, and thanks, Kiran.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use it like when I have a writer's block, right? So I would just sit with this section of my report and I'll just go on writing whatever that comes to my mind, because I have a big perfection problem, and so that is my biggest enemy, and it keeps me blocked a lot of times. So sometimes I would just write whatever that comes to my head, and I just set a timer. And then I would go back to the content and just stitch it back together and try to, enhance the quality, sorry, further. So it helps even with work. I mean, not just with your mental well-being, but it can also help with productivity or creativity in general. So yeah, it's just sometimes when you are in the act, you enter the state of flow automatically. So your mind and your hands are in sync, so that is also a good state to be in. It feels meditative after a point if you do it regularly.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing us. I really feel like now I want to try it out.
Journal.
Yeah, journal, yes. Like it will be like interesting, like I don't know, 20 days challenge or something to write. Yeah. Okay. But let's see the next.
The rule is to not take a break in between, right? You just have to keep writing for whatever time you decide to. Yeah. So if you're writing and all of a sudden you see a fly on the window, that's what you should write down. Oh, there's a fly on the window. So and then go back to what you were writing. So you have to just kind of be in touch with whatever comes in your head, whatever that is. Yeah. Well, the next one, since I'm reading it.
Ah, yes, next one, yes. Yes, here it is.
All right. The air. The air is fresh and clean. I breathe it while I smile. The oxygen fuels my body. Air is an element of astrology, and it is present in the tarot. It is related to the mind.
It
I
brings,
love it.
yeah, a lot of aspects, like just touch it and next, touch it and next. And I love to know that the place where he lives, the air is fresh and clean. Good for him.
It sounds like you're complaining about the air quality in India, Marike.
I cannot complain too much. I think this is a nice place where I am, but I think there's nicer places also. But I breathe it with a smile. This is really nice. And it fuels my body. You know, you're thankful for what it does to you. You're in a physical level, you're knowledgeable, but then you know that also it's an element in astrology. It's like a power, nature power, and it is present in the tarot. Tarot is also like a hint that about how to understand astrology and tarot. Both are like how to understand better this universe and us and our mission here, and it relates to the mind. That means to the last poem, and the last poem was about thinking. And so you breathe, and then you fuel your mind, and then you're able to think and write things.
Has anyone here seen the movie Patterson?
Patterson?
Yeah.
No.
It's more of an art house movie, but his writing style is very similar to that. So yeah, I mean, in this style of writing, you don't necessarily look for a particular structure or rhyming words and stuff like that. But it's more like literal description of things in a poetic way. So yeah, it's a very good movie. I think if it's a suggestion for those who are into poetry, because yeah, it's a story of a bus driver who just goes on about his day, but then depending on whatever he sees during the day, he will just write poems about it later on. So
Can you send it to the group, perhaps the name of
Patterson.
Patterson?
yeah,
Patterson.
Patterson.
P-A-T-E-R-S.
Yeah, that's the one I think.
Okay, I would like to see it. It's a nice poem, but do we have any more thoughts about this one? Then we can go on. So, yes, Mita. Sorry. I think it's child, but like I cannot. Kiran, can you tell what is the first line? Okay, yes. Okay, here we go.
In the innocence of a child, pure and bright, questions arise, seeking truth in the shades of light. Mom, what is Hindu, Muslim, Christian? She asks. A quest for understanding, a heartfelt task. At the temple, she heard the priest say, different places where people pray. Are there different gods or just one? Isn't love the same as God's love for everyone? The mother with patience With a voice soft and kind, she tries to explain her child's curious mind. We are Hindu, different our beliefs. That's why. But love is boundless, like the vast limitless sky. But what is Hindu? The child again inquired. A religion, a path towards truth, the mother replied. I don't understand, Mom. What's religion? It's dharma, to be kind and helpful, being human. The child recalls the news she saw. Hatred is growing and people are breaking the law. If dharma means doing right and love all, we can rise together. But why do we fight and fall? Why do the people fight, Mom? Why the pain? Aren't we one, like you did explain? Mom sighs deeply. They don't understand. We are one family, united we can stand. But why don't they know? Can't they see? Did no one teach them as you did to me? You are too young to understand, just grow old. Yet the child tried to analyze what mother told.
And let's see the other part.
Innocence sparkles in her eyes, seeking truth beneath the skies. At the temple the next day, in front of the idol, the small figures stand, questioning it all. God, are you here in this holy place? Are you in the mosque, showing your face? Are you in the church where others pray? Why can't I see you in every way? If you are one, why so many names? Why so many paths? So many flames? Why do they say not to go there? Isn't your love found everywhere? Why do they find when nothing belongs to them? Truth is the light in darkness overwhelmed. Her question floated in the temple air. A child's innocent plea was sincere and fair. God, show us the way, help us to see. From this illusion, how can we be free? Teach us to love, teach us to share. Kindness and love will bloom everywhere. Her words were a prayer, a pure heart's quest. In her innocence, the future of humanity rests. For in her simple, heartfelt plea lies the hope for universal love and unity.
Wow.
There is nothing to explain because I have explained everything clearly.
Yeah. And I feel this child's questions are very philosophical. And I feel like, about the universal love and unity, children are much naturally, much like,
They're untouched by the ego.
yeah,
They're very pure.
exactly. And when they haven't learned to be like something different, this is what we are. Oh. There's many places, yes, I like. This is the first poem we have in 2 slides. But it's nice.
Yes, it's a very beautiful poem. I like the innocence in which the questions and the answers are put, because many times I think we try to put complex words and try to go into very lengthy explanation. Some things are just like that, simple and with the innocence of the children.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what it says in Christian religion. Be like children.
Yes, I also felt the same, that Theosophists are a little bit like children, like the openness that is expected about like um, respect everybody's religions like your own, or like why are we are different from the others, and aren't the love for God loves for everyone the same? And it's like so honest question. I don't know if children really asked it, but even if we asked it as a children, like
The inner child inside us asks
yes,
this question.
I think there's many times then children ask, maybe not like too specifically, but they do not get like smart answers. And then I think the mothers are not so philosophical like her mother here.
Actually, in the Mahatma letters, Mahatma says that be childlike, not childish.
Ah, yes.
These are different things. Don't be childish. Become childlike. That means innocent.
Yeah.
No, children question everything. That's a bit like Kay, right? Be skeptical,
Yes.
question why is this like.
Yes.
So as Kiran actually said, touching on what he said, it's like you have to unlearn everything, right?
Yeah.
All what you've been taught is ego. See, this is the conditioning, and this is like this because of that. But then Kay says, question everything, break that.
Yeah. Even you got this answer, like somebody says this is a tree and the name of this is like this and this. Like, what does it say to me if I know the name of this tree? Like what I know about it that I didn't know before. Like to make some sound in my mouth and
True.
like how does it represent this tree?
Yeah. Kay actually says that the tree is an idea in your head, but it's nothing to do with the actual tree outside.
Yeah.
It's two distinct things.
Yeah, in that sense, green is not green, blue is not blue. Nothing is as what it seems, right? It's just our human instrument which is perceiving it as such, but that's not what other animals, would register. Different animals see different colors.
Yes.
Well,
With the gold and white dress.
Yeah.
There's this dress on the internet, and it's actually blue and black. But some people see it as gold and white.
Ah, yes, I have seen the picture. Yes. But also, I'm not 100% sure that people see the colors in the same way. I mean, they definitely not, because we have the colorblind people and we have people who are little bit colorblind, and we have like they don't see some shades, and we have people who are have very good eyesight. They can distinguish like thousands of different shades, and then
and then there are people who don't know that they're colorblind.
True.
Ah, yes. Because
especially when they have a very minor case of it, when they can't distinct between two colors that are very close to each other in terms of the frequency. But so yeah.
This actually reminds me, I have a friend and we often, not often, but few times we have like this, like, is it orange or is it pink? I'm like, I mean, in different lightning, I can say it's one or the other one, but I don't actually know how other people are receiving it. Also the smell, like one thing is how we smell differently. There's some people who cannot feel the smell, and some some animals can very, but also the smell on a different, like if you put the perfume and different people, it starts smelling differently.
Yeah, and to an extent, I'll say that this is also a bit gendered. And males are slightly colorblind in comparison to females who tend to look at the world in a much more vivid way than men do. So men would sometimes call peach and pink the same thing, or purple as pink. Wouldn't really make a big difference to them, but.
Navy blue, sky blue, opposite blue.
They see lesser shades.
Pink, this pink, that pink. For them, pink. This is pink. This is blue. And
but I'm thinking like psychological. I mean, if you think in one life you're a man and the other one is a woman, then do you have different kind of eyes in those different lives, or like you have just psychologically by society thought to notice some colors more, or you actually have different kind of eyes?
Very good question, but it depends on what instrument you are in at the moment. So your physical instrument, are you in a male body or a female body, or in a physical identity that is in between the two spectrums? So it really depends where you are.
I don't really think that man or woman can perceive color in a different way. I think it's just a matter of attention. There are things that
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
exactly.
a tension. It's not a physical problem.
No, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, but I was just saying in a psychological sense, of course. Because yeah, if there are men who are, artistic, who work with colors and all a lot, of course they'll be much more sensitive than the average man while talking about color. Whereas women are just slightly more aware, let's put it that way. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask if Mike and Chris have also thoughts about this topic or this poem.
Well, on that, sorry, you go first.
Okay, thank you. I was just gonna say that this poem kind of reminds me of a comic strip that I saw when I was younger in the TS. So in the comic strip, there's two aliens and they're looking down on Earth and everybody's killing each other. Everybody's like being brutal and killing each other. And then one of the aliens is asking, why are they fighting? What are they fighting about? And then the other alien looks at him like in a weird way and tells them they're trying to argue whose religion is the most loving and peaceful. And they're like, okay. So I think it kind of has the same spirit, the same essence of what the poem is trying to say.
Yes. Yes. Because it's all about love. Yes. Unity and universal love.
Yeah, I was about to say, on that color question where from Kieran, I've got some empirical observations where I think out of 100 visual designers I've met, about 90% of them are women. And out of like the people who like cinematographers, right? Out of like 100, there's like 95 were men. So there is certainly a force here at play in terms of the natural inclinations in terms of visual artistic. I suppose the way that visual and artistic, or perhaps sensitivity to color is expressed, there is certainly a inclination, gender-based inclination. But yeah, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
But I think genetically, men are more prone to color blindness than women, I think, if I remember my nursing school correctly. So like if our parents, if for example I have brothers and sisters, and then one of our parents had color blindness, I think the chances of a male being colorblind is greater than a female, I think, if I remember my genetics correctly.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it is like for men it is like 50% and for women like 25% or something like that.
Yeah, but also maybe the intrinsic nature plays a role as well. That's what maybe Mike was kind of alluding to. Like something like something that influences the intrinsic nature. Like
Yeah.
I think women are more drawn to beauty naturally. I mean,
And in my other experience, that I think women are generally naturally much better at language than men. Like in terms of average, of course, there are exceptions. But
If you look at the
like,
size of the Smita's poem and Arthur's poem,
well, I was gonna say that most writers I know are women. So maybe in combination with a heightened ability to with colors, and women tend to, on average, have a stronger ability to express those colors in language, and I think that's also something to consider.
you use more words to describe the color, but it doesn't mean that Arthur's poems are less, because maybe with a fewer words he say the same amount of things, or he's thinking the same amount of things. Yes.
Men are also quite laconic. They, use a few words and that's about it. Whereas women tend to describe things in greater detail.
Tend to,
yeah, that unfortunately doesn't apply to me.
But this is not unfortunately, because we both have female and male energies, and I think one of the quest in this life is to find like the balance, exactly. So maybe, Kiran, the thing is you are closer to the balance just.
Yeah, but I wish it wasn't so, especially when you have to write a big report, you know, you tend to go in more detail than you need to. But yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah, probably though. I don't know. I think some people just feel the need to use more words. I think it's just that. It's maybe it's not necessarily the balance. Sometimes you just feel that maybe people won't understand if I don't substantiate my, thesis with more words. But you don't always need that. But you probably feel somewhere at the back of your mind that maybe your message was not received the way you wanted people to register. And that'll never happen. Doesn't matter how much explanation you provide, people will always take things the way they want to take it, the way they perceive things. But however, I think it's very human of us all to have that expectation that people would try and understand us the way we want them to understand. So maybe that's why, the need to use more words comes from there, rather than, me being some hyper balanced individual, which I don't think so.
But also, I'm thinking, yesterday I talked briefly with Abhinav about art, and he says really nice thing that no painting is ever finished. And I think also, like, can you say that any writing is ever finished, because this is like representing of words, but the words are not like total description of the reality. Yeah. You can always put more words or more things, like, but it's really beautiful if you have a haiku, or if you have with a minimum words, you give such a powerful image or thought. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this out of usually I don't really choose poems, but Smita gave me 20 poems at once. So I was just looking them through, and since Gabrielle's was about question, and also Miriam's poem was like answer to the question, so I felt like this goes well with that line. I usually never like choose, but I had the honor to choose this time, so that's why.
Good. Yeah, going back to the last poem, and talking about being childlike, I think somewhere in the Bible, I think there's a verse on it, isn't it? Which is, I'll paraphrase it. It's like, God doesn't answer those who are prudent and wise, but to those who are like babes or like childlike.
With that, I remember one story from Bible. Once Jesus was giving, teachings to some group of people in a village, and then some children were playing nearby, and they were making noises. So those people were there. They were getting irritated, and then Jesus understood what was happening, and then he called one child, and he just made him sit on his lap, and he said that you all are here to listen to me, and you want to know, heaven and all those things and nice. But till you are not like this child, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven.
He probably meant the same thing. Simple, yeah, and heartfelt and innocent.
Yeah, I think innocence is it's a virtue in a way, which unfortunately gets corrupted as we grow up because of the worldly nature of things, and the cycle of life kind of pushes us back to to that innocent way of being for our own well-being.
But like I understand, if Christ says that you cannot go to heaven unless you are innocent like this child, it means that we have a way to become like that.
Yeah, I mean, like even for your own well-being, if you like, have, let's say, ill intentions about others, do you think, as an individual, you're going to be a peaceful, calm, centered individual? No. So forget about the heaven that would probably come after death. But even here, you will start making your life a hell because because you have a bad bone, and when you have a bad bone, it doesn't really make your life graceful. So it just makes it harder for you to just function.
Yes.
It's kind of like the major arcana in the tarot. So you start first as the fool, which represents innocence. And then you meet all kinds of characters, you meet all kinds of experiences, and then you finally learn about things and about life. But in the end, you still return to being a fool because no matter how much you learn, no matter how much there's still a lot of things that we don't know. And the saying that the more you know, the more you become aware that there are a lot of things that you don't know. So I
Yes.
kind of think it's that way.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
and then sorry, go on, Miriam.
no, I was going to say because in the Bible, Christ also says, "You be innocent or candid like a pigeon, but yet wise as a serpent." It says both. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, well, in the Zen tradition, they have the concept of a beginner's mind. The beginner's mind.
Yes.
It's like where you're open and curious, and you don't really conclude things or you don't reject things because it doesn't meet your version of truth. So,
Or at least you don't reject them right away. You give them time
yeah,
to grow,
exactly.
to open. It doesn't mean you have to all the time take everything that this is true, but you give them enough time because you don't have like ready-made answers for before you have heard enough of something. Yeah.
Niels Bohr,
Or maybe
Niels Bohr said that if you want to, I'm paraphrasing here, if you want to invent something first, you should admit that you know nothing.
Yes, yes.
Only then can you actually.
Yeah.
Even Richard Feynman says something similar, that those people who say they understand quantum mechanics are lying.
Yes, that's true.
yeah. Or again, I think it's from Feynman as well. It's called the Feynman's approach. If you think you know something, try explaining that to a 5-year-old, and we'll see how much you really know. so for like Smita's poem was about the different religions trying to explain, with the mother trying to explain that to a kid. And so yeah, you really have to sometimes.
I think the mother is doing very good job here.
Yeah.
The child is also extremely smart, like being probably those of his some previous lives. But I agree, like what Feynman says, and I've heard like Einstein says something similar. But the thing that you can put this, if you don't know how to explain it in a very simple way, you have not grasped the core meaning of it.
The fundamentals.
Yeah, fundamentals. Yes. Kiran,
Exactly.
you are able to explain 5-year-olds your thesis. I would like to hear it one day.
Oh, actually, there was an exercise or sort of a workshop that I attended, and we were tasked to explain to our they made different groups, so to our groups we were to explain our research or whatever we did in our lives, but it was to be done using words that only a 5 to 7 year old can understand, and it wasn't very easy. It wasn't very easy, but I've gone through that exercise once, so yeah. But because mine's about greenery, so some part of it is easy. But then you sometimes start throwing in words like sustainability and climate change and this and that. So it's like, it just becomes like a jargon for someone who's just 6, 7 years old. And you really have to, dump it. Because, I mean, the main reason for this was like when we as scientists or researchers or professionals of any field, when we go out, you know, in the world or give some sort of interviews or statements in the media, we usually throw in these jargons that most people don't even get anything about. So it's just, you know, it's falling on dead ears, dead ears, sorry. So yeah.
Very nice.
Do you want to hear my 7-year-old version? I think better not. I don't even remember.
It will be perfect if you could present it as a form of poetry in our next session.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And you think a 7-year-old can understand that, or a 5-year-old can understand that?
That would be really great. I'm thinking maybe I should do the same. Like,
Yeah, it would be lovely. We could all present our thesis in poetry format.
oh, we could do a special edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I don't
that sounds like a challenge. Yeah, worth taking up.
Okay.
And do you want to add do you want to add a new layer, Mary Kay? Like then you should also make it theosophical, like, you know.
Well, Theosophists.
Like,
I read any, like, I just met Tisha. We wrote today that let's meet. Then I asked, do you want to come over, like, a few hours ago? Then she said, oh, actually, I have written some poems. So, like, it goes so well. And, like, we have spoken a few times, but the thing is, I think her poems was quite philosophical. And, like, since we are Theosophists, we actually put Theosophy without thinking into, because we are doing it like automatically, and it's even Yuna, if you, yeah, we will reach her poems soon. But I think we will do it unknowingly. But yes.
I can't be too sure of myself. Like, you know, that to add unknowingly, I don't know. Not always, maybe. Not always. Sometimes, yeah, it happens.
We can do two different versions. One with Theosophy knowingly, and one just thinking about how to say it.
No, I think if he writes his thesis in poetry format, we'll be able to spot the nuances of where theosophy is applied.
Yes, if you write your
That's a
from
good
the
one.
beginning in a poetry form.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice group exercise. It limits my workload as well. I do myself, and then it's on to you guys to figure out what's theosophical and what's not.
Oh, we can do that. Yes. Sometimes you need other people to look at it in a new way. Anyway, I really love this an innocent question poem, and it's not so innocent, but also lately I read something that innocent is when you are unable to get hurt, like psychologically hurt, because you don't like.
You don't have the defense mechanism.
Yes, because you're not like.
You don't have an ego and a defense mechanism.
Yes. So maybe you haven't done like anything bad, so nothing. You are not expecting something bad to come yet or something. Yeah. Kindness and love will bloom everywhere. But I think it's time to go to the next one because we have few more. So next one is Yuna. I can read Yuna, and Yuna asked Smita to read the next one. So I read this one and you can read the next one. Yeah, Yuna couldn't be here, but she asked us to put her full name. Yeah, last time I only put Yuna Agnihotri, but I will mention her real name. Actually, is Yuna Agnihotri Isas. Words. Words are so unpredictable, always special and meaningful. Words express emotions, good and bad. They tell truth and lies, spread love and hate. They have colors and meanings, and are all that we need. I was thinking about the last line. In what sense words are all that we need? But if you think that the thoughts consist of words, and we can see some parallel with Arthur's poem about thoughts and mind, that in this evolutionary human evolution, this is the mind that we are developing, and I mean we need some food and air and so on, but we are here to think and transcend the thinking. So in that sense, I understand. I don't know if that's what she was thinking, but yeah, I was thinking how I would understand this line.
I think, of course, I don't know what Yuna meant, right? But maybe she was trying to say that words are the mean to express ourselves with each other, to understand each other.
Ah, yes.
I don't know.
But why would you say words are unpredictable? I mean, I can predict what words I will say. I cannot predict 100% what somebody else says.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Yeah, but I think words are so unpredictable because what I may be trying to say might be misinterpreted by another person. Like I might be trying my best to explain something, but if another person has their mindset already or they have a particular bias, even if we do our best to explain it, it might not come out the right way to them. So they're always special and meaningful and they express a lot of things. Going back to the poem earlier, I was thinking that it's also like a kind of levels of manifestation. Like in the poem earlier, the mind is like the most abstract thing, and then the mind uses thoughts to make those thoughts more concrete. And then when they write it, it becomes even more concrete. So probably the words themselves, they make the world more concrete. I don't know if that's what she was, if that were her thoughts when she was writing this, but I was thinking that because words make it more concrete. They say that unless a child can name something in the mind of that baby or that child, it doesn't exist. So psychologically, unless we're able to name something, it doesn't exist for us. It's just an abstract concept.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with you there, Christopher. I was just going to put it slightly differently. Words attempt to give structure to things that essentially don't fall in any particular structure. Like, for instance, you have a feeling. Maybe it's a feeling of anger, anxiousness, or love. But then you use certain words to kind of give that feeling a structure for your own, let's say, mental comfort. But then words are not always enough, even though, like, again, going back to what you said there, you try your best to explain, but in this exercise of giving structures to things, some stuff is still lost, and that's why I think we have terms or words that are used in different cultures and languages, for instance, which are not so common in English, but then there's a term for something that English doesn't have, and they borrow words from different languages because so certain feelings were not well expressed or were left unexpressed in this exercise of giving structure mentally. But here, when it comes to words being unpredictable, yeah, I'm slightly unsure of that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what my next words are going to be. I think it's pretty unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's very
Well,
clear.
yeah, I think that she can say that words are all what we need because she is pure and innocent in the sense that, of course, he admits that people will use words to tell lies, but I think it's something that just it's not in her brain that he wants to do so. It's yeah, because if I need something, I will express it with words because maybe she's so in tune with her feelings, emotions that she will say it. Maybe for adults, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Along those lines, actually, maybe she's saying words are so unpredictable because she's a child and she's looking at everything with childlike wonder. Whereas to
Yes.
us, we're so conditioned.
Mhm.
Yeah, obviously, this is what his response is going to be. I've already pre-planned all that.
Ah, yes.
But a child is just open to the world.
Ah, that's also my yes.
Yeah, that's a good meta-analysis.
She had to be here and tell about
Yes.
herself, but she has another poem and she asked. Oh wait, too much. Can you please read this one?
To be free, we must realize that to break the cage, we don't only have to open our wings, we must also open our eyes to see clearly. We must open our heart to feel feelings. We must open our mind to think open mindedly. We must open our ears to hear people, and we must open our hands to those in need. To be free, we must open our senses, and when we open our senses, we not only free ourselves but also the world.
Wow, very nice. To be free is to give like service, or to be is to be open to the world, to perceive and recognize what you can do, to hear, to think open-mindedly, to feel feelings. And not only open our wings. What wings did he thought? We have a lot of birds in here. Around here. Must be so we in order to be free, we must open all our senses. And when we do that, then yeah, it's like if you go on your spiritual path, since we are all connected, then you think you
The human consciousness improves.
yeah, yeah. So every step you take, you will take everybody else also a little bit further. It is very nice that I don't know if she has thought the same thing. I think she is, but it's so nice to see it here because we are not only freeing ourselves.
As
I
case,
think this poem is more like an instruction for us adults to free ourselves up a little bit because as a child she is free, I suppose, relatively more free than we are. So because I think it does get to a point in life where we ourselves tend to block, a lot of our expressions in life. Sometimes it is because we have to play a certain role in life, or maybe put up to a certain image, or things of all sorts. And so because of that, we're not really being our authentic selves and not really fully open, to so our expressions are kind of constipated, if I may use that term. So that which is not what free life is.
We learn to be in the cage, and then, but part of us always wishes to be free, and And this is just, but I like what you said, that this is instruction for our grown-up people, how to get this innocence that you were talking about before.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Maybe the cage is like our own self-imposed limitations, like what Kiran was saying. So, as a child, you're naturally free. You like to interact with other people, you like to help people, you like to share things, you like to share with other people. But as we grow up, we start to learn things that imposes limitations on us. We start to be afraid of other people. We start to be afraid of what other people will think about us. And so, because of that, we're trying to impose limitations on ourselves. And I guess our natural inclination to be free, to just be who we are, our authentic self, becomes repressed, just like what Kiran mentioned earlier.
This is so
So
nicely.
the Yuna is basically trying to tell us that put your books aside, go out there in the world and live your life.
Yeah. Good. And you have hands, for that you can help others. But you have to open them.
Yeah, sure.
Very nicely put. One day maybe we can ask on person what she thinks, but I think it is like she has this little bit innocent that she's very much like Smita. She's saying what she's thinking, and there's not too much mystery. In a nice way, like it puts effort to say it out like accurately.
It's real and honest.
Yeah, you both are.
Well, kids sometimes are so, isn't it? Like most of the times, they're not so politically correct as adults tend to be. They don't have to always, fear a judgment from others. So they are by and large pretty honest about what they feel. And yeah, sometimes the words they use might sound a little controversial or disturbing to us because they've picked it up from somewhere else, and that happens a lot with kids because they're very impressionable. But other than that, as long as they know what they're talking about, they're pretty honest. They don't really try to brush things under the carpet. So yeah, kids
And
are always
has like two parents who are like so good, the topical international speakers. Like she has in a home like such environment. Like this is really, really nice. Wow.
yeah. And then she lives in Adyar for the most part. So
She's
a
really
lot of that.
Okay,
yes.
that's lovely.
Yeah. What I think she was supposed to come, but they had another meeting. So, but yes, I like that somebody is talking about freedom here, and it's very nicely put. But let's see, we have another. Actually, we have another two wonderful poems, and one is Mike's, and Mike poem does not have a title, but Mike, are you able to read it yourself?
Yeah.
Lovely.
I don't know what that title should be because it just came out of nowhere, but anyway. So here it goes. Home at last, from paths of thorn and stone, a sanctuary one had never known. But in that serenity, a challenge looms, a lesson awaits to be learnt. A hollow sound, a jarring note, the fool's accusation, noises too well known. The heart which feels too deeply must be wounded. Life is strained, light fades, and a heavy price is paid. Waking from unconscious indiscrimination, the heart forges armor, sharp and bright. Discernment as its shield, clarity as its sword. The final victory is peace. On this strange, worthless battlefield, fools demand energy, ceaseless, unearned. But the garden calls, the mind is silent. The soul's true purpose cannot be opposed.
Wow.
Anyway, it's just something that yeah, it just came to me randomly.
I feel a little bit King Arthur's vibe here, like, but the discernment is the shield, and the clarity is the thought, clarity of thought, or like perception. Like also the second poem that is talking about clarity or the open mind or see the things how they are, and the discernment. I think so. This is what we are actually like building this discernment in our battles.
It's true. And I think especially important is, this, well, I'm sure you know about this idea in theosophy that we are exactly where we need to be to learn our lessons. And often that would mean encountering situations where, that's a bit challenging. And I would remind myself that discernment is the shield and clarity is the sword. Together, the final victory is peace. And often the battles that we fight on a daily basis, and in the long run, right? If you like sort of zoom out, they're pretty much worthless fights all the time. Happens everywhere. And fundamentally, that just means, conserving our own energies is very important because at the end of the day, the garden calls, the mind is silent, and the soul's true purpose cannot be opposed. But, we're down here, we're fighting, we're wrestling with the outside world. And I think, at least for me, right, discernment and clarity has been very helpful for me to see the correct pathway, from here to there. Anyways, that's my thoughts.
I very much like you said the garden calls. It's like the Eden or like the something like higher. You said it garden. This is like in nature we feel peace, and the mind is silent. Yeah, when you hear the calling garden when the mind is silent.
It reminds me of the campus.
Yes. And the soul's true purpose cannot be opposed. And the soul's true purpose, like again, the questioning in Gabrielle's poem, I feel that the soul's true purpose, yeah, we are heading to this one, yes.
I have a question. I really like your poem. It's very stoic. I like it. Why do you say the heart which feels too deeply must be wounded? Why did you use the word must?
Well, it's in my experience, the heart that feels very deeply. We are born with, how do I put it? In my experience, only through being wounded can you actually feel the depths. Because people who generally, like, I'm sure you would all agree with a general observation that people who have not been through those kind of things tend to have shallow characters. And you could pretty much tell if someone had not been through the kind of journey, the kind of wrestling with, all of these questions. You could feel that they haven't been through that. The fall is what I call, like, which goes back to the previous poems where there is the fall from grace and into this world. There are people, and that's, as within, so without. So the people who haven't been through a fall like that, it's almost certain that they would not be able to feel things that deeply. But on the other hand, once you've been wounded and you've been through the wounding, and I'm sure there's a lot of mythology that goes with it. For instance, in astrology, Chiron, the healing, the mysteries about healing and how the wound, and you could only heal a wound through the same or like a cure that is of a similar nature with the wound itself. But if you don't, like, for instance, for the people who haven't really had the fall, the the degree, the intensity, the depth of the feelings, it's almost guaranteed that they won't be able to feel to that extent. But for those people who have been wounded and they feel such a depth, right? The challenge now becomes controlling that, being able to control that, the feeling nature of the heart, and being able to draw a boundary, for instance, so that you're not constantly being drained by all the drama that goes on in this world. You're not always being like because you feel so intensely. That's where the armor comes in. And that's the opposite problem, because those who haven't been through the fall, they wouldn't be able to feel as deeply as you do. For them, the challenge is how could you feel deeper so that you could truly understand this world at a subjective experience level. And that's the opposite challenge, I think.
Wonderful explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Krishnamurti here, would throw a ball and say, who is wounded? Like, who is it that is getting wounded? So, I mean, I think maybe, our identities, when the identities that we strongly identify with, it's only when that gets shattered is when we feel the sort of, disillusionment or being wounded or pain or suffering. But I think it's the dying of our, identification with a certain set of, personality, or, or not just even beliefs. I mean, so yeah, our version of reality. I think when that gets shattered, then it opens a big door for something that is much more beyond what we know.
This is so. I just wanted to ask, not ask, but add to this. You mentioned like astrology, and very much like, and I remember one astrologer once said me, explain me like a challenge that I have, and that was very true what you said. And she explained, if I'm able to overcome, then in the future I will be able to help people who are in the similar situation. And Kiran, I think this is also about you. If you can overcome what is the main challenge right now in your life, then in the future you will be able to help others who are in the similar situations.
I see.
Yes.
Thanks for the motivation. I can tell you that doesn't have much, but anyway.
But this is like in academic world, but also like in emotional or spiritual level. If you have really learned some lesson, then you are able to help at least not all, but those who are in this situation and they don't know yet. They haven't gone so deeply as you, and if you are overcoming it, like then you're in a position to help them.
He also talks about the value of crisis.
Yes.
Talking about J. Krishnamurti, he talks about the value, how important a crisis is.
Yes.
Because only then do you go through any discontent and you actually look around and see, maybe I'm too conditioned. Maybe there's something wrong. Only then do you question it.
Yeah.
Until then, you're happy in your little bubble and people just go about.
Exactly. We need it to come out of the bubble because
crisis does that. Being wounded does that.
Yeah.
Wakes you up.
Yeah.
It's part of the...
Somewhere deep within, it's also our inability to totally surrender, like a lot of our sufferings or, wounds are coming from the fact that we hold on too tightly to certain versions of reality or the way we want things to be. And that is partly because of our survival instinct, but our just, need for certainty in life. But that total surrender never really comes. And then you're always clinging on to some version, that suits you well. But eventually you let go, but it's just a matter of time. So it's really it all comes down to us as to how long you really want to sustain this suffering that you have signed up for, or the one that you were supposed to go through. So yeah, I think it depends. I think it's kind of related to that. It's our inability to surrender to whatever it might be. But
Yes, and I think we are very lucky that we have the like philosophical or like philosophical like Krishnamurti background that we understand. We have information to understand it. Whether we use it or not is another thing, but we have the tools.
They're more discerning.
Yeah, to understand it.
To ask the right kind of question, that is the first and the most important aspect of maybe Krishnamurti's influence, is to ask those questions that are really difficult to face, but then he won't spare you of anything anyway.
And we're back to the questions from Gabriel, Miriam, and Smita. Theme of questions, yes. But from coming back to this theme, the soul's true purpose cannot be opposed. And what is our true purpose?
To live peacefully,
To
be enlightened.
with the human.
What is our what? Sorry, I didn't
To the
understand.
last line, the soul's true purpose cannot be opposed. Mike, what do you mean by the soul's true purpose?
Return its limits.
Well, there's actually a multiple meaning in this, and at the most basic level, if there is a direction that you feel like you're being pulled towards something, that is basically generally, if you follow your soul's true calling, you get closer to your true purpose. You get closer to why you're here. And in my experience, the more that you try to follow that lead, the more likely you're going to get closer to the lessons that you have to learn. And so, and a lot of these lessons are very painful, because when you get out there and try to, do something, or you're trying to achieve something, or you're just trying to be whoever you are, trying to be at peace, and lessons will come to you. And these lessons, generally, you can speed them up if you actually, go out there and be proactive about what you're trying to learn. But generally speaking, the soul's true purpose cannot be opposed. As in, if you skip a lesson, you'll come back. And if you find yourself being stuck in a place where you're like, oh, I really hate this place, I just want to get out of here. People do that all the time. People want escapes all the time. That's why people take holidays at the end of the year. And when they're stuck in a place that they don't like, they're in a job they don't like, they take a holiday, sure. But then you have to come back. Another approach is to learn that lesson and reflect back. Why do I have that kind of reaction? Why do I react the way that I react? And how could I do it better next time? And you see how I've used the word the fools in here. And I think this poem, I shall say, I dedicate this poem to those who feel very deeply, and the wounded healers out there. You have the ability to heal, but at the same time, you cannot heal yourself. That is the key. That is one of the key elements of the myths of the healer. You could heal others, but you find it very difficult to heal yourself. And maybe that's a lesson to be learned. And I think it applies to a lot of people, because when you're being wounded, right? When you've been wounded in the past, that naturally makes you a healer. That is the Chiron energy playing out in your life. And naturally you would have the ability to heal others. Like, you will find other people very, keen to be around you, and other people being very, they just want to, hang out with you, and they feel that they could almost live on the energy that you provide. But then you find it very difficult to heal yourself. So that is perhaps the lesson there. And yeah, I was just saying, discernment is probably a big element in that.
This is very nice answer. Thank you. I was just reminding Yuna's last poem that says, we have one more poem. Jonas he says we have hands so we can help the others. And this is actually the service part. We can heal, but I agree. We have to set boundaries about the healing and doing, but I don't think it's wrong. I think it is our part. If we have this, what helps others, then we also create like possibilities that we can be near those who around who we will be healing. Yeah, and learn, and yes, like the more we are able to give, the more something valuable, like you say, like this healing energy where we have learned something and will overcome, then the more
You get blessed, life blessed.
yes. Yeah, but also I agree what you said, that those blessings may not be like what we want. We may get stuck, and sometimes the only thing you can do in this situation is ask, what am I supposed to learn right now from this lesson? Like what I am missing that this is repeating.
We get blessed with another life lesson.
Yes, yes. I'm thinking
I
like
think going back to Yuno's poem there, she was also talking a lot about freedom. And that, I think, is maybe in a different sense as a call for liberation. And liberation is what I think is the essential purpose of our soul is. I think there's nothing as rebellious as the soul tends to be. And it rebels a lot harder when it's pushed against a wall. So that's why, when people are in situations or circumstances where they feel, like that they are cornered or too pressured, they just want to, like what Mike said, they just want to escape. They just want, to be free of that situation. So, yeah, because it definitely is an innate quality of our human soul, it's to be free, and our happiness comes from being aligned with that. It's usually when circumstances or situations, are not, conducive to that, then yeah, that's when things become difficult for us. Of course, it's learning, because even within that, we then have to figure out how is it that we can separate ourselves from whatever situation that we are in and not let it affect us to a degree where we actually feel constricted mentally, physically, emotionally. So that's a learning. Yeah.
Yes, I agree, because I think there are two places from where you can give, and let us understand giving by working, writing, whatever it's that what we do. You can give from a place of need, in the sense that you need to give in order to gain something. And that's very draining, because you are attached. Yeah, you are attached to what you are giving, but you're attached to what you're giving. So it's like you're never. But it's also the giving when you are free, when you don't expect anything in return, but of course doing something with no expectations, that is master's level. That is very
yesterday, yesterday we have a Krishna day. It was Krishna day.
Yeah.
Yeshiva. And we read a little bit Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, and it was also about do your duty, but don't think about the fruits. So just do as you should do it, like I'm like paraphrasing it, but forget about the fruits. And this is like a little bit like you give or you do these things because it's need to be done, and you don't worry about whether you get back or whether you karma gives you back through this person that you're giving. Maybe it gives you back in some other way that is more beneficial. But yeah.
Yeah, but there's a precursor to that, which is identifying your dharma, your purpose. So this comes after that. I mean, because if you are a healer and this is your purpose in life and this is what gives you joy, or just it's very much aligned with your purpose. So you do it and you don't really feel very drained. But if you are doing it out of compulsion, or if you're doing it because of, a sense of responsibility or like a duty or pressure because you have to, or because you've promised someone, so it's not really coming from within. And it is usually in these kind of situations where it becomes a draining affair. Like, if all of us are given a chance to maybe, work only on the days that we actually feel like working, then we all will be like very happy people. But then we have to show up, every single day, work 9 to 5, and then you get maybe just 2 days off a week. But then, you're constricted. So it's not voluntarily 100%. So that's why, it gets to a situation, especially if you're in a job or a duty that you're not really enjoying, or you don't really feel very much aligned with it, then it slowly becomes a draining affair. But otherwise, if you're truly enjoying what you do, then I don't think it's training as such. So, because that's your purpose in life, that is your purpose, that's your passion. And so that's why you see, some people, working tirelessly, and they don't really feel drained or exhausted or something like that, because that is what gives them the energy that they, need to propel forward in life. So they just do that.
I actually have a theory on that. I think when someone experience one of these deep wounding events in life, right? I think that is when, for a lot of people, that is when, for the first time, their astral bodies become very active. And because their astral bodies become incredibly active, they could now feel that intensity they've never felt before. And then the question becomes, because they haven't been able to, for instance, a lot of people were pretty much not very conscious, and until one of these events happen, that's when their astral body finally gets vitalized and starts to vibrate at a higher frequency, perhaps, or maybe it just becomes much more active. And because of that, they now are able to, for instance, absorb other people's astral aura, I guess, and that would lead to a hyperactive astral body. So now they can feel everything very intensely, and that has a correlation with, how one of the lessons we would learn in these incarnations is to build a active astral body, and eventually we might get to a point where we could consciously control that astral body, and maybe that's a necessary step towards that ultimate goal.
I think
Yeah.
it is very true. We actually discussed just before today, before the lecture started, exactly the same thing that you are saying right now, that this is actually what we're giving food for different chakras or different, like you can say, astral body, or like.
And you're free of thought, you get all your chakras get more energy also.
Yeah.
So you think better, you feel better.
Yeah, I agree there with what you said, Mike, about, when one is deeply wounded. I think it definitely opens up a big door for empathy, and because you've had a somatic experience of that, that very thing that the person goes through, then you just have a heightened sense of empathy, and therefore you're able to see or sense other people's, suffering or pain, and therefore you are also better positioned to help them. So yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And eventually, when you start to be able to control that ability, by the way, in Yannian, in Cao Yang's literature, there is this concept called the old stone shirt, and that is someone who has a very active, that's someone who has the healer's ability, someone who has a very active astral body, but they use it to hurt other people. So and so that's the opposite. But anyway, so the idea is, with a very active astral body, obviously people feel overwhelmed. Like when someone experienced those wounding events, right, for even a couple of years, they would feel very overwhelmed by the heightened ability to feel things. Eventually they get that under control, and that is a significant milestone in that journey. I think when I was writing this bit here, discernment as the shield, clarity as the sword, that sort of is almost like you're arming your ability to feel. And when that is combined with the, for instance, the clarity and discernment, I think that's a very powerful combination.
Yeah, there are some really interesting stories around this about Ramakrishna Paramahansa, who was Swami Vivekananda's teacher. So yeah, he was, a very, highly sensitive individual at one point. And then there's a story which I faintly remember where he saw a person getting whipped, across the, he was sitting on the other side of the river, but he could still see that, there's someone is getting beaten up on the other side of it. And he was actually the one shouting with pain. And then, people then said that he even had the whip marks on his back. So some really sort of mystical or, things that you can't explain. But yeah, or maybe they're more symbolic as stories. But yeah, some people do suffer because of their heightened sense of empathy because they just feel too much.
But is it too much if it lessens the other person's pain?
Yeah, because because that person, sorry, Miriam, were you going to say something? No, okay. Well, because that person, it depends really on his sense of empathy, the one who's getting, let's say, attacked or beaten. But then if you're open to, everyone's suffering, then of course you take the larger load of things naturally because you have your own thing going on, but at the same time you are, taking in other people's pain just because you're highly sensitive to that. So yeah, so your workload is much higher than the average person.
Yeah. And I think this is like a bodhisattva way. Like I don't know how else. Like you must be like a very evolved soul to reach in that state that you get beat marks when somebody else next to you is beaten.
Yeah,
But
certainly.
connected, yeah.
I think the point is know your limit, because there is no sense in becoming a martyr. If you are drained, you won't be able to help anybody else. So maybe it's better you just learn your limits so you can help in a basis where you aren't that direct. And then the next time, maybe your abilities, your capacity is wider, so you can help better. I wouldn't say you can help more. It's just you will help better. You will know, because as Mike is saying, you are discerning. You know what you have to do. Because sometimes it's
Thanks,
not
Miriam.
only to help, it's that the person wants to be helped.
Yeah, that's actually a key motivation of me writing this. We really do need discernment. Otherwise, we get drained very quickly. And there are people out there who actually consciously or unconsciously, they drain people around them. And sometimes they don't know that they're draining people around them. And there's a lot of people like that out there. In the last election, I actually spoke to about 20,000 people. And I have seen a lot of people like that. And there is a significant percentage of people out there who are just like that. And, it's very easy to get drained. And it's completely not your fault if you feel like you're drained all the time. That is not your fault, but at all. I mean, like, we need more healers in this world. But there is no use to be drained all the time. So discernment is the shield and clarity is the sword. That's, yeah.
You
Basically
can
my idea.
use the same energy to being trained or use it somehow more wisely that it helps the people more, then this is a discernment also, yeah.
Yeah, and your energy could be used far more productively if you exercise discernment. And as Miriam was saying, you could help more people, not necessarily more people, but you could help people in better ways. For instance, if there's an alcoholic who insists on drinking a lot, you feel the alcoholic's pain. Maybe he's lost his everything due to a depression or something. But there's no way you could help him until he decides to put down the alcohol bottle. But at the same time, if you could help a child who was lost and momentarily you make them see the light, and that will change a person's life. So discernment is really important.
Yeah, because some people, really need, and some people even don't want our help. But some people, like children and old people and some animals, they're not. I don't know, even if they know how to ask, but if you are able to help, yeah.
Just to add to what Miriam and Mike said there, yeah, well, in the Gita, they do talk a lot about service and duty, especially our, duty in this world. But then it also emphasizes a lot on swadharma, which is the duty towards yourself. So it's in the same context as what Miriam said, serve yourself so that you can serve others better. Don't make it a toxic pattern, essentially. So, to keep your instruments, let's say, in a healthy condition so that when people need you, you can be of service to them. So swadharma is to keep yourself, let's say, healthy and in a good state of mind and all, as well. The Gita emphasizes on as well, which people don't really talk about much in the popular, discourse, but but swadharma is essential.
Thank you for that. And I remember Smita also in her poem mentioned dharma, but it's really nice. Do we have some last thoughts about this poem?
I just want to say, from a poetic standpoint, I love that he said a hollow sound, a jarring note, because you're calling something hollow and can't hear much, but at the same time you're calling it jarring. I like the oxymoron there that you're doing.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for your kind words. Yeah, it's meant to go together with the strange, worthless battlefield, because all of these everyday draining stuff, like 99% of the stuff that drains you, is probably something that's completely worthless. Which is why, discernment is important.
Yeah, I'm glad that you kind of highlighted that, because it's just like, hollow, or maybe you can also draw a parallel with silence, Silence can be both unsettling and something that is a refuge. It depends on how you connect with it. So hollow is the same. If you are not really, connected with your deeper self, then of course the hollowness will always keep you chasing for things. Then it'll bring in more chaos in life, because that's where your sense of security comes from. But once you've recognized that deep connection, or realized it as in that sense, the silence then becomes a refuge. It becomes your source of joy, your source of peace, your source of harmony, and it's not unsettling. So sometimes as human beings, we run away from silence, but then only to realize that silence is what actually heals us.
I like how Kiran is bringing back the silence and the uncertainty of the first poems. I like how the thoughts that we touch there is living on in here, and we notice the relations. This is so nice.
This actually reminds me, so the silence in each place is different.
Yes.
So what the filmmakers do is they also have a take where they record the silence of each room. Because it differs from place to place, and they'll insert it in clips where necessary.
Yes.
Well, I think Mike can tell us better about that. Mike, do you have any takes on it?
Yeah, you usually do it because you could return to the scene afterwards. So you generally do it when all the actors are called off, like when you finish a scene, or when you finish a day, and when the actors are in maybe going back to makeup or something, you can grab your sound designer, say, all right, let's record this place for 2 minutes, and just record the background noise. We call it the atmosphere noise, and just do that for I don't know, a couple of minutes. And yeah, that generally helps a lot. And especially in scenes like if you have a very close and cozy place, the sound echoes of certain materials it's very hard to replicate afterwards inside the studio, because then you're gonna have to bring like all these furniture inside. So generally just spend like 2 minutes, and yeah, 100% you gotta record the background noise. And ideally you do that for all of the scenes where, like for the indoor interior shots, you do that. Because for the outside you could get away with, doing it in a different location and people would probably not notice. But for inside, definitely you want to do that.
This is so good. Thank you.
And I forget to do it a lot of the time, so I learned that from the hard way.
Yeah. So let's go to the last one today. Would you like to read our last poem? This is Leonardo's prayer.
I can read.
Okay, please.
Okay. A short prayer. Lord, may through my heart's little light. Sorry, let me start again. Lord, may through my heart's little light shine only love in the days and in the dark of nights. May my tiny arms reach true till all's wrapped in peace and close to you.
This is so beautiful. Only thing was hard for to imagine Mike's little hands because they're like over average, I think. But this is like tiny in a sense of tiny human hands compared to the godly hands, I guess. And my heart's little light, like our light is in a process of growing, and may through this little light only shine love in the days and in the dark of nights. Always. And may I only go towards that which is true. Very hard to add something to it.
I thought it was quite interesting when he said, shine only love in the days and in the dark of nights. So the nights is qualified by the dark of nights. And from that, you could see the emotional state of the writer who wrote this, because shining love in the days, in the daylight, this is pretty much a pretty loving person, but in the dark of nights, that's when the emphasis is this. And it is very difficult to shine only love in the dark of nights. It's far more easier to succumb to the darker side of nature in the dark of nights. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I really like that line as well, because there are two occasions where our faith, or maybe our our belief in something larger than us gets shaken or is forsaken. Can be either of the two. For instance, when you are in your highest of highs because things are so good and all, and you don't really feel the need for let's say, having that gratitude. It happens. That's human tendency. It's when things are all hunky dory. I think our devotions at times takes a back seat. And then the other side is when we are going through the lowest of lows, and that's when we feel that there's no points to anything. Like someone would say, oh, I've been going to the church all my life, and I don't think it's helping me, or something like that. So that's where the faith gets a bit shaken. So yeah, there are two occasions, and one, it tends to get a bit forsaken, and in the second one it gets shaken. So the two extremes, I think, and that's why maybe he just wants to ensure that, may my heart's little light shine, through the highest of highs, the lowest of lows.
Yes.
Yes, to be grateful and also how humble he is, how humble he presents everything. So important.
And humility is very difficult when people are, going to their highest of highs. That's a challenge. So,
Christopher, do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, the line that says shine only in love in the days and in the dark of nights, I would agree with what they previously mentioned. It's like he wants to be an instrument of love for both the good and the bad days, so that even if it's like a depressing time, he would still be only an instrument of love. And then, like you mentioned, made the tiny arms reach true. So he's acknowledging that all of his efforts, all of the things he does is tiny compared to what the divine can do. But he's hoping that his little arms, when they reach out, it's enough until he's able to reach out to something bigger or higher than him. And he's totally enwrapped in that peace and love. It may not be here yet, but the mere act of him trying to reach out, it acknowledges that it's trying to reach out to a greater source of peace and love. That's how I see it.
I can picture a little child raising his hands up so that a father or mother figure can lift him up and hold him in their arms. Yeah. So
Also, I feel like that Leonardus is a little bit closer to this innocence we were talking about before. Just reading this. And the other thing what Christopher mentioned, yes, I also feel the vibes of Saint Francis' prayer. Let me be the instrument of your love and peace.
Yes.
Like you started talking, and I like, yes, I can feel it coming. The main thought coming through it. So, if you don't have any more comments, then we reach to the last point. Thank you very much, dear all, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
thanks everyone.
See ya.
Lovely chatting. Nice poems. So see you all very soon. Take care.